Financial disclaimer. The information provided in this stream is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered as professional financial or investment advice. We are not licensed financial advisors, and the content presented here is based on our personal opinions and experiences. Investing in stocks and other financial instruments involves risk, including the potential loss of capital. Any investment decisions you make are solely your own responsibility, and you should conduct your own research and consult with a qualified financial professional before making any investment choices. The content we share on this stream may not be accurate, complete, or up to date. Market conditions and financial regulations can change rapidly, and we cannot guarantee the accuracy or reliability of the information presented. We do not endorse or promote any specific stocks, companies, or investment strategies. Any actions you take based on the content of this stream are at your own risk, and we will not be held liable for any losses or damages that may occur as a result. Always remember that past performance is not indicative of future results, and no investment is guaranteed to be profitable. Make informed decisions and consider your risk tolerance before investing any funds. By accessing and using this stream, you acknowledge and agree that we are not responsible for any investment decisions you make as a result of the content presented. You are encouraged to seek advice from qualified financial professionals for personalized guidance. Please invest responsibly, and only with money you can afford to lose.
Hey man, just found the next guaranteed multi-bagger.
Hey man, you found another one? What is it this time?
Come check this out.
Okay, next please. How can I help you, young man?
We want to go all in on SOND. We love apartments with bedrooms and we think that properties are here to stay.
Well, that's fantastic. A really smart decision, young man. We can put that checked and it's gone.
Hey everybody, welcome to Laughing Stock. We are back here. We couldn't stream last weekend, Dane, but how are you doing?
I'm good. My market performance is not.
No,
So,
I'm in the same boat.
which it's been a really productive week for me in terms of learning. So
Yeah.
I could say that.
Yeah, get something good out of it.
Something good somewhere in there has worked.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got really pummeled this last week, so not so great.
No, same. I had in my own view, I had a very good September and like half of October, and then it's been pretty rough. And I think I've given me almost all my gains back from that period up until now. And the last 3 weeks has been especially brutal. It's just like I find it very hard. I see a lot of traders. They talk about how they have switched to, pullback buys and stuff like that. I tried to do something similar earlier in the year, and I just failed a lot at it. I'm too new. I'm not confident on it enough to start to do that as a solid process, So, and I've also decided I'm just gonna keep my focus on learning one setup, because in the future, I'm sure that will help me more than to get a little bit better results this year. So that's why I haven't switched over, but it's hard to stick in breakout stocks right now.
Yeah, I need to so I was doing some testing this week with things because I definitely am improving on my setup and being able to see it. I think I've watched some of Kulamagi's videos now, like I don't even know how many times. I'm starting to be able to recite them. But the goal, like you said, it's to really focus on a very specific setup and get really good at that. And I've seen a few things now that when I go back and I back test, it's very, very successful. So I'm hoping that could be my edge going forward. This week, the problem is I'm trying to test this in a really tough environment to test things. So a lot of things were getting stopped, and I was kind of careless and reckless at times, to be honest. So but it's good feedback. I see what if I was to just try and do what I was doing, it doesn't work. So maybe in a bull market it would have been very successful, but not in this market. And I look back on things I bought, and now based on the setup that I was looking at or that I'm working on right now, which it is a breakout setup, but it's a little bit different because I'm looking for very specific signs that someone's buying.
Yeah.
That's where I think I can see a bit of an edge that I wasn't paying attention to before. Is I'm really focused on where do I see the possibility that someone's buying. So you're looking for on pullbacks, how things react. As a stock is slightly choppy or whatnot. Um, how much support is there in an area? Like, I think in hindsight, when I see Q say it's super important to find a clean setup, the reason why a clean setup works, or what I'm starting to see is it's because the institutions are have that so strict in where they're saying to buy. They're just saying buy, every so often or whatever like that. It causes that setup to become clean because you don't have like these crazy moves because they're never going to let it get that way. As soon as the stock drops to a certain price, they're buying that.
Yeah.
So it's a mix of those kind of signals that I'm looking for now, and I do think I'm seeing it. I feel more confident now than I ever have in the setup. So at least I have that going forward, and it'll take a few more weeks of trying things, but I'm not going to make the mistake I did now, which the mistake now was trying to perform while I'm testing. So I took a lot of bigger losses, and my risk is still only 0.25% in what I was doing. But when you miss out on 10 or 12 names, that can really hurt you.
Yeah.
So
No,
um,
it is, you know, still our first year. I come back to that, and I think I have improved a lot this year, and my performance are not showing like good results, but I know so much more about this now and what to look for, and I feel like um, I'm constantly improving. And yeah, it would be great to have like to kill it, this year, but there will be more chances unless you just blow up the account, which is something that I'm not doing that. I'm very careful with the risk management, which I'm that's one point that to be happy about, because a lot of traders struggle with that.
yeah, if you really don't have a good control of your risk, trust me, I've essentially blown up my account before.
Yeah,
I didn't zero any of my accounts ever, but I lost big percentages. So I
yeah,
know the same idea, and I know where that it's easy to make that mistake, especially at first, until once you've taken a huge hit, you realize how important it is and how you just can't have that strategy because it doesn't matter if you do well with that strategy for even a few years. It's only going to take one time blowing up that you're going to lose so much that like that strategy no longer becomes valid. It just doesn't have endurance. So, um,
and I've done the same as you now. I went back to study. I've done my own studies a bit. I have a sheet where I've collected some of the Kulamagi setups and tried to note down some data points in terms of ATR and extended and just how it looks like and all that stuff. So I'm trying to build and try to get as much details as I can out of those setups that there are videos out there that he rates the setups, so just the fact that he has kind of approved that this is a good setup makes you, I think you should study those ones.
yeah,
So that's something I've done. I've also tried to, we talked just briefly before the stream now that both of us actually, without even talking so much about what we are doing, have kind of reached the same conclusion that we need to develop the style and probably the scans and what we look for more specific, more detailed, to filter out as much noise as you can, so it leaves us with only the very best setups and the best stocks to take. And that's kind of maybe something um, that I have not done as much as I should this year. I've traded a lot of maybe random, like the setup looks good, but then there are a few other things that I maybe have ignored, and it has worked out. And then you start to, I ignored it back then, I will try again, and then it doesn't work out. And over time, I think those will just work against you. And so I came to the conclusion a little bit ago that I need to do more work. I need to study more on my own stuff and just note down what I see and just start to focus on very specific things. And that's what I've been doing lately. I've tried different things. I'm looking a little bit more on the weekly chart now, just to see if that can help me, and use the weekly chart as a major filter for saying, like, if I don't like the weekly chart, I'm not gonna do the daily setup on it, because maybe that gives me better results. I've seen it from other traders that they have done the same. And I mean, O'Neill just traded on the weekly most of his time, right? So I'm sure there are things and details you can look for to get very specific on what you want and not. And that's what I'm trying to do now.
Yeah, no, I think having it on different time frames is a good thing. Yeah, it depends. I think daily, from what I've seen, I can get everything I need out of daily, but there probably is some merit to looking at different time frames and seeing how they all line up. Because I mean, honestly, even with weekly, it doesn't hurt. Even if I was searching for daily results, um, you could just right before you buy, just peek at the weekly, see where we're at. You know, is this a bigger move on the larger scale, or is this, you know, still a small move?
Yep.
Which also can tell you, you know, maybe you're early in the move, or maybe you're a little bit late in the move too.
I was gonna
Um,
say, like, the weekly can quickly give you, and it just takes a second, you know. It's not like I'm gonna study the weekly chart, but it just, like, in terms of, is this stock in an early uptrend, or is it in a late uptrend? And maybe if I see that it's a bit late, maybe I'll jump to another one that is a bit more early, you know, to get more out of it. Just
yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah.
No, that all makes sense to me. So yeah, going forward, I don't know. Like, this has been a really choppy market. It's really tough to stay in things. Breakouts aren't working very well. You know, the problem is every time it pulls back, it seems to find like a moving average or something, and it rebounds from it. So it's not like we're in this like bear market. It's just a sideways market. And you know, it's a pretty choppy sideways market too. You know, we're up and down 5% swaths here, so it makes it tough, because if you're holding over that time period, any of your long-term stuff is most likely going to get stopped out on those chop days. So your hit rate here needs to be pretty high to do much. So like I said, I think my goal, because I still want to keep testing, but I don't want to like uh just lose money to lose money. So I'm just going to really drop down my position size, and just focus on, you know, can I get this hit rate where I think it's going to be, based on the backtracking I've seen with the setup, and then yeah, take it from there. And then if the, you know, if I see like things start to improve, or if I see my hit rate be high enough, um, then maybe I can start to bump the position size back up. But we'll see. You know, my market strength is pretty bad right now. I know I haven't posted it, guys, and once again, it's because it's not super accurate. I still don't have my PC working. I've been working on that thing nonstop, trying to get that back up and running. Just troubleshooting stupid things. So um, I'm at the point I'm just gonna start buying new parts and just go from there.
Yeah.
But until I get that, yeah, my market strength like the last 2 days is lower, or as low as it's been in a long time. So um, we'll see. I will say my actual breakout chance is still okay. But it's still tough. I mean, there's very few stocks, and that's kind of what I've been thinking, is like, if there's very few breakout stocks or stuff that's in, you know, you better be able to pick those out um on your day, because if you can't pick them out, then like you shouldn't be trading.
Yeah.
You know, like if there's, let's say on any given day there's 10 stocks that like meet my setup criteria, and like I can pick 6 or 7 of those out of like the line, like between my screeners and everything, I pick like 5 or 6, and then let's say at least half of those work out in the long run. Like that's kind of where it needs to be in order for me to outperform. I need to be able to pick them in, in advance at that rate.
Yeah.
Because if not, especially in this market, you're not gonna perform well.
There's also like when you look at Kulamagi, and he speaks about all the work he has done, right?
Hmm.
So, and I think he read every newsletter of Dan Sanger, right? I don't think you can find them for free anymore. But there's a lot of reading. There's a lot of studying of chart. He talks about that the file he has where he has gone through heaps of charts and how stocks move, and
Hmm.
he put his own twist on things. And even maybe people are watching his streams and feel like sometimes he just takes something and works, but it's just so much that he doesn't say, that's just in his head, in his eyes, that he sees, that makes him take things and not. So you probably, and then he even had a very very bad period recently where he gave a lot of his gains back, right? I don't know what happened, but it just shows that you constantly have to develop and move together with the market. And speaking of rough times, I saw this news this week, Dane, about Michael Burry.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, Burry's one of those guys that probably, who knows how many times he closes things and opens things. That seems to be
Yeah,
his.
but it
But even,
just
yeah, he's saying he's struggling in this
it's
environment and
still
he can't seem
telling, right?
to pick anything. So,
Yeah.
oh, I just, maybe I think in today's markets, the way that we inflate money, the way that the Federal Reserve, the way that, our politicians try and keep things afloat, the valuation side of things has just got kind of crazy. Um,
Yeah.
I think it's why, well, Buffett, obviously looks at the fundamentals and all that. I think that's why he's so focused on, the company that has that moat and has that, ability to just, pump out cash because they have a product that people really love. That simple idea, um, I think that just speaks volumes on how important that is when you're trying to long-term hold things. Um, if you can't find something that you can sit on for a long time, like when you're going through these things and all these other market effects are coming in and out of play in different macro environments, like Apple, people are going to keep buying phones. I don't care what's going on in the world. I don't care how bad things get. People are still going to be trying to buy those phones. And that's the simple reason why I think he took Apple. I mean, don't get me wrong. Obviously, it was creating a ton of cash flow and blah blah blah. But and you can argue whatever you want in terms of valuations. But at the time, I think it was somewhere around there where he just realized how addicting that thing is. And I mean, look at the stuff the guy buys. He buys Coke, he buys McDonald's. These are addicting products.
Yeah.
Essentially. And then the other ones he buys are like things that have like true moats, like railroads and that kind of thing, where you can't just build railroads. So um, I think what he's doing in its ideas is beautifully simplistic. I know it's not easy to execute, but the idea is there.
Yeah. Oh, it has been a bit tricky lately, and never fun. Like I was a bit discouraged even on Friday. I saw the pre-market was really ugly, but then the day turned to be kind of like a mixed day, where a lot of things that I had on my list actually performed good. But the problem was on Thursday. We can jump into the charts here. Hold on. The problem was on Thursday. You had this ugly day here, which made a lot of stocks look like this. Like Dave here. Hold on. Let me find a good example. Like Tesla, for example, dropped for Wednesday and Thursday, and then Friday went back up a little bit. And right now it's in no man's land, and there's a lot of stocks that look like this. Some have found, like you said, supports on some moving averages, but and maybe the strategy for a lot of traders then is to take them on the pullback, but it's easier said than done. And I'm sure at some point I'm gonna I'm gonna test it out more, you know, consistently and scientifically. But right now, I'm just focusing on that breakout setup because there's a lot of work to be done there still for me to master that one. And then we can do the pullback a bit later. But I can see how this can be profitable now if you manage to find you know, a good hit rate on them. But now I think we need some more days to see if things starts to build more bases and break out again. And I mean, there are indicators now that just are saying be a bit careful because maybe the market is about to turn. I don't know if you looked at Bitcoin lately, Dane, but Bitcoin looks ugly.
I did at one point, but I'm just pulling it up now just to double check it. But
Not that
wow,
this
you're
is
not
a
kidding.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty ugly looking chart.
Yeah, but not that this is a proxy for the market, but it has tracked the market on the way up a little bit lately. You know, maybe this can be interpreted as a big sign of someone screaming, "Hey, we are going down a little bit." And then you have stocks like has been leading the bull run. Look at BE right now. Yeah, it found support on the 50-day, but it doesn't look very you know, very good here, I think. And I don't know how much this has gone up, but since 6th of May, it's gone up 600% almost.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm just keeping a track on it. It's in a combination with it's hard to stay in stuff. You see some of the leaders are turning a bit. You see crypto are taking a hit. Tesla and stuff like lately what has really dragged the indexes up are the giga caps. You know, they have performed well, a lot of them at least, stuff like Apple
Yeah.
and you know, but
Yeah,
even some of them are starting to turn.
yeah, I went through just to see, stocks that, I like meet my setup on Monday. And like I said, I found three of the
Yeah,
entire market. I found three.
yeah,
So and most of the stocks that looked like that fit my like scan criteria were all in, big downtrends.
yeah,
So yeah, obviously we've reached, in my opinion, we've reached a definite peak in this market.
yeah.
Um
And I mean,
so
if you look at the Nasdaq, if you look at Friday 24th of October, then Monday 27th of October, and then Tuesday, and then even Thursday, it's like jumping up day after day. It doesn't look normal, you know.
right.
That's a bit weird behavior, and then it has moved, like you said, sideways, and even now struggling a bit maybe to let's see in the next week, but yeah, I'm gonna be more careful than I have been, and probably do as little as I can. And I saw some people have started to short things as well, even the big leaders. So
Yeah, and but they talk about that, like O'Neill talks about that like last climactic jump that you see in a stock. And even though this is the overall markets, it makes me wonder, that climactic thing I assume occurs because um we've reached what most people would probably consider the top.
yeah,
So a lot of institutions start selling right there. And because they're selling, they're just trying to trim out of the positions because they think they're at the top. And there's people who are, seeing like, oh, these guys are selling, like they're selling at like market. So I can raise this price and get them to sell, a little bit higher, and buy it. And it causes it to kind of pop up real quick.
yeah.
But then all of a sudden, the institutions are now slowly out, and now there's no one buying. And maybe they're just continuing to trim, and you start to see that final pullback where it's just never going to recover from that point. Um,
We're gonna
and
get more. The coming weeks, we're gonna get more info, and things can look much better in in a week or so. But right now, we need to work from what we are seeing. And like you said, if I draw the line on the move we were speaking about, look at the difference in these lines. this line here, it fits on a lot of these, on a lot of the ways up here, and look at the how much steeper this line is, and
Right.
that is like a sign in many books of the top is near,
Yeah, that makes sense.
even if this wasn't a big move up, it's still a move up where things were acting a little bit weird.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, and all that's aside, I mean, like you said, it just, I mean, we had a pretty strong run. I mean, that was from April, honestly, until, and where normally September is that month where
It gets a bit
you
tricky.
get weakness. There was that dip in September, but it also at the end of it, October, at the very start looked like things were going to continue up, and then that it just kind of pulled back from there.
Yeah.
So, I think maybe we're just behind a little bit on top of where you typically see these markets slow down. And the seasonality thing, it's kind of, I mean, it's something to like think about, but it doesn't really matter in the long run. Like,
I
but
saw um on a Thursday, I think we texted, and we almost couldn't believe, or we could believe it, of course, but it's been a long time since our scans on in the opening session of the day. It just gave like between my two main scans, it gave me less than 10 tickers, I think.
yeah, and you and I have talked about that too. Like, just general markets, like when you scan for things, you kind of get used to like about how many things are returning on average, and then
Yeah,
if it's up, you can just tell it's going to kind of be a bullish day, or at least it's starting out bullish. That doesn't mean it can't turn.
yeah,
And then same for vice versa. If you don't see anything, there's probably not a lot of buying coming in until something happens. Sometimes it depends on the day.
yeah,
Sometimes people are waiting for news, so it just kind of feels cautious all day. Everyone's
yeah.
not really sure what move to make.
But I remember we saw very similar things here in, February, late January, February, March. There was just very few things showing up. So, but like I said, we can get some more information this coming week, and we are no expert in reading like the big picture here, but right now these are at least my thoughts about things, and let's see on Monday what things are doing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't have to be an expert, but just looking at that chart right there, I mean, you can see it's in a we're down, we're in a general downtrend right now, and like we're getting lower lows.
Yeah,
The highs aren't holding up. So, I mean, if we can find some kind of support here, sure, but
yeah.
right here, it looks like we're kind of bouncing downwards.
Look at this. This is an indicator that showed up in one of Kulamagi's streams. I think a guy made it, and he
Okay.
said he had put it on some of his things, and he said like, just use something simple like this and trade when it's purple. I don't even know if I have manipulated the color, but the idea is like when all the moving averages are sloping up, and are in the correct order, it gives
Mhm.
a color, and when something are starting to turn down, it gives no color. Right now we are in no color, and we have been few periods here, so
Interesting.
just simple things like this can give you an idea of be careful.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, let's jump into a few tickers. I didn't update my lists on Friday because it was a combination of that it just looked so ugly that I wanted to spend time on something else, and I actually didn't have so much time anyway, so I have not updated these. So some will be, I should delete some of these tickers, but one I'm keeping an eye on still, Dane, is CVI. CVR Energy. The ticker is CVI.
Mhm.
Um, it held up pretty good, and it's also in the energy. There's a lot of energy stocks that have done well. One stock that did well for me lately was AMPY, which I got stopped on Friday, but that gave me a good game. So a few energy stocks are doing still well in this choppy market.
Yeah, no, and I mean the general setup there looks okay.
Yeah.
Um, hey, quick question for you. On your charts, when you look at your volume, what are your 4 different colors?
Oh, I recently changed that. It is from a guy called TA Plot. You
Hmm.
can find his script on TradingView, and it just me like the blue and the green colors show it can hint towards that institutions are buying up the stock, because I don't remember the calculations, but it's based on like how much more it is versus previous days and stuff like that, and then it color codes things. So it's
Oh,
just
okay.
a way to look at yeah, promising volume, I guess.
Yeah, just curious. I hadn't seen it before.
No, I recently changed it, and it also, I don't know if you can see it on the stream, but there are some small dots when the volume is drying up, just to give you a sign. So
Gotcha.
I'm sure if you Google that script TA Plot, he has the explanation and all that.
No, that's cool.
Yeah. Um. One I was really excited about up until Thursday was Dave. I thought that was about to make a very good base, and then it had some decent earnings lately, but now it's below the 50-day moving average, so I'm probably gonna kick it out of this list because this is my daily watch list.
Yeah, it just looks like it might go on for a ways further,
Yeah, I think
or
it can.
or or break down from here. I don't know,
Yeah,
but
it
if
can
you
very.
draw like a line under all the way, like see that new candle that just formed on Friday. If you draw a line all the way there, all the way back, um, it just makes it look like a much longer trend.
Yeah, it can continue to build a base sideways here, and maybe you want to adjust like your breakout line, but I'm
Yeah, but
still
like
gonna
follow
watch
that
it.
line all the way back. I'm saying too.
Yeah, yeah, it's a pretty long base though.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. But it hasn't broken that line.
No, it hasn't, but like you said, also it can continue to break down here, so it's just something I'm gonna watch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just if I can find a longer trend line, I like to use it just because it just gives even more. I think it gives even more credence to whatever it is in terms of how strong that move is. You know, if it's really over a short time period, I mean, yeah, you can be somewhat confident, but you never know.
no,
Um,
and speaking of what I said earlier, look, if you look at the weekly on this, it looks very good, right? So it's not that it's not interesting anymore. It's just not on my daily watch list.
gotcha.
Yeah. But good fundamentals. It was bought up here in April with some excellent reporting, and then very high volume all of a sudden, and then has just pretty much moved sideways from there without too much selling. So that's kind of what I was looking at. And, the stock has a high ADR as well. So it just fits a lot of the things that I'm looking for.
Yeah, I think it just depends. If it doesn't break down and it can go a little more sideways, I think it looks good.
Yeah,
I still think the setup's intact.
yeah, yeah. Um, did you see? I had one on the list here. CDTX. They are being bought up, and it went up 100% on Friday.
Yes, yeah, I did see that it had jumped. Which
And I think that there was in a good base as well, to be honest. But I didn't. I had no position there.
yeah, like I said, in hindsight, I look at some of these names and I'm like, oh god, like these look good, and I should have been more interested. But it is what it is. But
Yeah, and you had no chance to take this because on the day before opening, it was already up a big amount.
yeah, this one you would have had to somehow buy on what you would assume was a breakout and have not gotten shaken out. You would have
Yeah,
been kind of early, essentially.
yeah.
Um, which that's one thing I've been looking at is trying to find, um, if this does continue to move sideways a little bit, is there a spot I can get into it where I don't get, stopped out and you just kind of ride it out.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and that's the other thing too, is like you said too, like when this finally broke and they had the good news, most likely someone knew that news beforehand and is buying this thing. I have I have a hard time believing someone's not buying these
but you saw
when that
you
kind of
saw
news
it.
is going
It was a bit bought up here on those 2 days, Thursday, 6th of November and 7. It's on the way up again, so yeah. But
I
that
just
was
I
not.
just think of the mix of people that I work with, for instance, and I
Yeah,
can guarantee you, if I worked at a big company like this and everyone was hush hush, there might be 99% of us who are hush hush, but one person's telling a friend. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like one guy
yeah.
out there is like, I
Yeah.
don't give a shit. I'm
There is,
telling this guy, and yeah, and
yeah,
we're gonna make some money off this.
yeah. A- and
So
and and this had historically also it was moving pretty tight, and on a long sideways base here. So no, it was on my list, but of course I didn't see that it was gonna be bought up. Um,
yeah, no, I mean,
um
but yeah, I think it looks good.
yeah,
In hindsight, always easy to
yeah,
say, but
yeah,
it did look good.
yeah,
Yeah, and we had talked about this before. I can't do ADR specifically in stock charts. That's like one small complaint I have, but it does use ATR. So
yeah,
before the stream, I was double checking a bunch of my screens with Johnny just to make sure that my stocks are pretty much following a high ADR rule, and it worked pretty well. I mean, most
yeah,
things were like well over 5% ADR.
yeah. You
So
had all of them were above 5, which is kind of my filter right now as well. I know Kulamagi uses 4, but I know also he says sometimes that he doesn't take the 4 ones. He likes it at 5 and above, and it does make sense if you want to grow a small account.
Yeah, I mean, I get what he's saying because he needs the liquidity because number one, when you buy something, you don't want to spike the price, $5, and you
Yeah,
also when you get out, you don't want it to drop,
no,
So he's, if you're, it's kind of crazy to think about. I remember in one of his videos, he's talking about buying Tesla, and he's like, "Oh, I should have, if this was a better setup, I would have bought like 4,000 shares here." And I
yeah,
like was thinking about, it, I'm like, how much is that? And I realized like how many, that's like just millions of dollars. And I was like, oh my God, I was like, this guy is just, I mean,
well,
it's hard for me to fathom dropping millions of dollars on a trade, which I get it. It's still percentage wise just a small amount, but I'm like, wow, that's wild.
have you not seen the video where he presses the wrong button and
Oh yeah,
he
I
loses
did.
1.5 million?
Yeah.
It's I'm not. It's ugly to laugh, but I think he laughs at it as well in the video and said he made it back 2 days later or something. But I guess at some point you just get a little bit immune to like the sums.
Yeah, but the other thing too with Q, like Q knows no matter what the market, no matter what's going on, he's gonna be able to trade.
Yeah,
So like he can lose a substantial amount of money. It doesn't really matter.
no,
His setup always works. So
yeah, yeah,
it just doesn't matter.
yeah,
He's going to outperform.
yeah. That is true.
That's one thing I'll say about trading versus investing is like, like you said, like Burry said he can't figure things out right now. And where if you're trading and you find a good setup, like it doesn't really matter.
No, it does matter. Yeah,
Yeah, you might not be able to trade in certain time periods. But if you are trading successfully, like you're gonna want to not trade because you're just gonna lose money. Like your goal is to trade in the best and the baddest times and kill it during those
yeah,
times only.
yeah. Um, let me just go through here. Um TN did we speak about this TNGX?
Yeah, did I buy? I can't remember if I bought this and got stopped out or what, but it looks good. That's one of the very few stocks I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, which also is like the base is it has moved sideways for a long time now.
Yeah, I think this one looks good. This looks
Yeah,
really good.
um, I kind of I kept Planet Lab for some days of the week, but the last 2 days it just broke down a little bit, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna watch it on Monday. But VSCO, which is Victoria's Secrets, it bounced back into the base, at least from my drawings here, and I'm still keeping an eye on it. It's a bit of a, what do you call it, like the laggards, because it hasn't moved so much since you know, April, but now it's maybe setting up, and it did find some support on the 20-day here. So yeah, it's on the list. Five ADR.
Yeah. No, it looks okay here.
Yeah,
I
I'm
just wanted to go sideways a little more.
yeah, I'm not sure how much I like the volume profile either. And according to the data here, there's a earnings report coming up in 10 days. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
But I mean, what don't you like about the volume here?
No, I mean, on the run up, I maybe it's a little bit too little buying volume in the past, but I do like
I got you.
it's drying up here.
Yeah, no, because that's what I was confused on.
Yeah,
Because I was like, I think right here actually the volume looks pretty good. It
yeah,
looks
no,
like
I
it's
agree with that.
contracted a little bit, and
Yeah,
uh,
I'm
like
not
you said, I mean,
sure.
it's been moving perfectly sideways.
Yeah, I'm just not sure. I wish it was a bit more heavy volume before the move up through the 200-day moving average here. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man, this has got an earnings per share of $1.86. Well, I guess it's a $35 stock, but it's not that crazy.
yeah. Uh, yeah, but in the past, like in the last earnings report, they were. This is also a table I added now. It compares on the percentage columns. It compares to the same quarter a year ago. So that's what the
Gotcha.
percentage shows. So it's just to keep an eye, quick eye on the fundamentals. Yeah. Sophie was a stock that I tried. I tried it here on Wednesday this week, actually, Dane, because I thought it was gonna go, and then it stopped me out the next day, of course. But that one had some good news. They had some contracts and stuff like that, so I thought it would go up here, but I was wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it did look like it had a setup. Like I liked it on the 11th,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
somewhere in there. It looks like it
Yeah,
was kind of, on that day. I would argue if there was a bit of a setup there, it was breaking out on that day. Now, once again, I like it to move a little further sideways, but I agree. I can easily picture a setup there, and it's been skirting that 50-day for
long
over a
time.
month now.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I mean, this is the thing, like, so this chart, like, yeah, I'm not looking at this on Monday because it's got to bounce back from this break of the 50,
yeah.
but I wouldn't take this off like a watch list for me
No, I
because
agree.
um give it a week or even a few days, yeah, it could reset up.
Yeah,
So,
and if you
um
look at the fundamentals and also that news, it was all positive, you know.
yeah.
That Thursday on the drop, it was just bad market environment. Everything dropped
Yeah.
then almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I
And like I
told
said,
you,
keep going.
yeah. If you look here, this is not exact science or anything, but compared to Victoria's Secrets, where I was kind of missing some volume on the buy side earlier, this one has it, you know,
Right.
up here. So that gives me a bit more confidence, and also in the base, the selling is below the average volume, you know. So if, like you say, if can continue to move sideways and build a new base, I'm interested. But I don't really like to take something. Let's say it breaks out on Monday and it goes up here again. That candle is going to be too wide, you know.
Right.
So I hopefully can move a bit sideways and set up again. But let's see.
Yeah, no, This yeah, it could definitely keep working.
Yeah,
And that's the thing, like, like this stock to me looks like it's setting up, possibly to go up again. But in this market, is this where we'll see a bunch of these really break down? Which if the market kind of continues to chop like this and then ends up going down, I'll kind of be okay with that because number one, I'm not going to do anything in a down market. That I'll actually really stop doing everything because like you can't even test in that market really.
yeah,
Um, so, in a sideways market, it's obviously a little bit tougher, but like you can still perform in a sideways market.
yeah,
It's just harder.
yeah,
So, I think all these setups are kind of valid until we get a little bit more sign that everything's breaking down.
yeah. I agree
Um,
with that. Yeah,
so hopefully, hopefully you get a little bit more. I'd like to end the year on a high note, which
yeah.
I know is dumb to wish. I'm not trying to be wishful in what I
No,
what I hope happens. So I
no.
know that's a recipe for disaster. Um, but it would be nice. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah,
That'd be a nice Christmas
yeah. No, I would. Um, yeah, I don't
or
know.
Hanukkah. That's what you celebrate.
AMPX is a stock that it has given you a lot of setups this entire bull run actually.
Yeah,
Um,
and this is another one that follows kind of that same pattern as SoFi.
yeah, yeah, it is. And if you look at it back here, it touched the 50-day and then went up again, and now we are back at the 50-day. So uh, another one that can potentially move sideways a little bit, and then you should watch it when or if it breaks out again.
Yeah, DJ Khaled.
What is? I didn't take the reference.
He's the guy that always says another one in all the
Oh,
videos.
another one. Okay. It was so funny. I watched a DJ Khaled Instagram post or something, and he's always so motivational, right? And he
Yeah.
was running up the tiniest hill that I have ever seen, and then he was like, "Oh, I didn't give up," and all that stuff. It's funny.
Yeah, these guys.
Um, TTMI, Dane, it had a pretty big move on Friday and kind of went back to where it was before that Thursday drop. So, is that a sign to you that this wants to go higher?
I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying. I think what this means to me, like when I see this and I see that kind of expansion in the candle as opposed to a contraction in the candle, what that's telling me is there's quite a bit of room for liquidity. In terms of like people are willing to sell and buy at pretty much extremes here.
Yeah,
Um, so all that tells me is just to keep like it's going to take time. Like that's why I think that's like when I see like a VCP pattern now, um, and I see those expanding candles versus the contraction candles. Either it is about to kind of break out and you're at like that very last leg right before it breaks out, which I don't see in this setup. This isn't like what I would say there. Like, I would say that is more like if you look at like August 27th on this stock, you have like those three tight candles in a row, and then it kind of goes up a little bit and then down and then starts working its way up. Like that can be that final expansion there where all of a sudden, it starts to move upwards after a really tight contraction. Um, and that's just, people starting to materialize in their minds where they're going to buy and sell these things. And then you just watch it kind of go up or
yeah.
down. Um,
And look at the good example here for what we were starting the stream off by saying it's hard to stick in these names. If you took it on 29 of October, that was on earnings, so maybe you were too late or something. I don't remember if this went quickly up. But the next day, if you use the low of the day at least, which is what I'm doing as a stop, the next day I would be stopped out on it, and it still moved up.
Yeah, and I mean that's why Q and all those guys say it doesn't matter. It's gonna happen. And
Yeah,
and to be honest, if the thing is, it dropped that day and ended the day higher than it
yeah,
opened.
yeah.
Or no, it didn't. Did it? No, it
Uh,
closed lower. But either way, it still opened up.
Oh yeah, yeah, it closed lower, yeah, but it was positive, yeah,
But yeah, like it was, it was still
Yeah.
a positive move from the close. But what I'm trying to say here is that following day, it gives you some faith when it starts back up at the peak from the close on the day before.
Yeah.
Uh, that's like, if you're gonna try and get back into this thing, that's like when you would do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
Exactly.
that
Which
day,
is a
had
bit
an
hard.
8% day. It barely dipped at all. I don't know how quick it went up that day. That's the other thing too. Some of these names after that, um, by the time like it's start of market, it's already up 4 or 5%. So then like you kind of missed it anyways.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, this is one of those stocks too that like I don't this just didn't have as clean of a setup as I would have liked in that period.
Yeah.
Like it's a little choppy. Looks more like a almost like a head and shoulders pattern. And the head and shoulder pattern, like it kind of tells me it's choppy, which almost is like kind of contradictory to what I'm trying to find. I'm looking. I've focused much more now on like the high tight flag, the declining flag, and then just kind of like that sideways move, like a base. Cup and handles work and all that. I'm not saying anything against those. I can find that clear where you can clearly define the setup. I like those ones better.
Um. Yeah. We spoke about AMPX, right? Yeah. Um. Just need to go through this myself, but you talked about open, right? I took open. I took open on. I don't even remember now. I think I took it on. I took it here, Tuesday, which worked. It was back to what we were speaking about before. My entry there is a bit random, you know.
Yeah.
Probably stupid in the long term. Not something I should do, but it did work. But I felt it was random, you know. And then
Well, I mean, if you want to argue, I mean, somewhere around midpoint in that day, it broke through the moving averages, and I would argue that's right where the pivot is.
yeah, I
So,
that is what
I'm
I
not saying it's totally random, but
no.
but
I
I
had
mean,
like
honestly, I
a
think that's well timed.
I had like a good reason for it in my head, but in terms of what I'm trying to do with the setups and everything, I ignored a few things. But he actually gave me 20%, and then I kind of I think I moved to break even in the end because I sold. It was ugly in pre-market on Friday, and I got a bit scared, so I sold directly, and then I shouldn't have done. I think I would have been stopped out anyways. But it did look a lot better than it was showing in pre-market for the majority of the day. But of course, it went down 5% in the end. But what do you think of the setup here, though?
In terms of that last part, like where you took
Yeah,
it.
where it is now, yeah.
Well, where you took it, what did you get in at?
Almost where it is at now, but on Tuesday.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I think that was fine.
yeah,
I don't know. It's kind of hard to say here, just because it had pulled back, but it did touch that moving average.
yeah,
I think now, since we're already kind of past this triangle phase, I'd be looking for it to break to all-time highs. So I want to
yeah,
see it
here,
get like
yeah,
10 and higher.
yeah,
That's where most likely I would consider a pivot that I'd be confident to get in on.
yeah,
But I guess my big question is here is like, we just looked at so many charts and all these guys are kind of bouncing around all-time highs or at least, a 52-week high. And they're all in this kind of long sideways move.
yeah,
And either the market's gonna work in our favor and all of these are gonna break out one leg higher, or they're all gonna pull back and
yeah,
there's gonna be kind of nothing going forward for a little bit.
yeah,
So, I'm probably gonna continue to, like I said, just trade small. if I see one of these kind of set up, and if I don't, I'm just gonna kind of sit for a little bit. You know, I'm at the point now, like I said, I feel pretty confident in one of the setups that I'm using. I just have done so much backtracking, and it works pretty often.
Yeah.
So and it allows me to capture a big chunk of moves, which is, like I said, that's what I'm looking for. Is I want something that's able to capture a big part of the move. Now, obviously, if I would have been doing this back in, you know, starting in April when this whole move, all these started taking off, I probably hopefully would have caught some of these, you know, bigger like multi-baggers. So I'm keeping that in mind going forward, and how I can capture those names. I've been thinking about different things to do to make sure that you're getting in the names closer to, because like it's easy to screen for stocks that are way up, you know, that have been up hundreds of percents and blah blah blah, and then like you're just looking at those now, and that's kind of where we're at now. But initially, like you want to be in those stocks that are just breaking out, like for the first time in a long time, um,
I
and
think what
seeing
I'm going to
what's
do,
there.
after the next correction, and when you kind of start to identify a bull market again, I think I have some lists here. They all of them involves like 1,000 stocks, and I have 6 lists, so that's 6,000 tickers. I'm just gonna
Mhm.
I'm gonna go through all of them and just look for the leaders, the stocks that are already showing strength,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna just handle it very different than what I did in April and May, and hopefully I can, through that method and my screens, be on top of the ones you should be on top of, that you
Right.
can hold for a little bit of time as well.
Yeah.
I think I don't. I've been thinking about this a lot because I think I missed a lot through my screens especially in June and July. So I have to think about maybe to create more screens to just find broad, look broader. But at the same time, if you just bother to go through quickly, of course, 6,000 tickers, um, you will find them anyways.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. It's a pain because, like you said too, like there's a lot, but like you know, you can narrow these names down. You don't have to go through 6,000 tickers every day, but like if you do it once in
Oh,
a while, and you
yeah.
know, and like then go through some of your main screens, like you should be able to hopefully narrow this down to some bigger movers.
Yeah. Exactly.
And like I
And
said, just look for that patterns that you can see happen time and time again, and make your criteria. Like I said, like this is also what we were talking about. Is like, you know, I'm making my criteria more strict in terms of like it has to have these things. And the reason isn't being because I'm trying to like, you know, be like overly picky, but I want to know that like if I'm sticking to that, like let's say it returns 5 on average, um, that you know 3 out of those 5 work every time.
yeah,
I need it to be that confident that every time it works.
like you
Um,
said with Kulamagi, he knows he's gonna outperform.
right, because
Yeah.
he knows his setups, and
Yeah.
that's why I'm saying like you should be at the point where you know your setups, you know how well they hit, so you don't have to really worry. Like
Yeah.
as long as you
Exactly.
have some decent entrance and sell rules, like that's kind of like the art part at the end.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and
Exactly. And
you know, a lot of that's probably somewhat luck.
yeah. And if you
Um,
use his rules also of the like sell half or a third after day 3 to 5, and then just use the moving averages. And we talked about it in one of the other streams, like maybe we can find a um a way to look see with the eyes when you should do the 20-day moving average and when you should do 10-day. And just by quickly looking at it, I don't remember, Dane, if we did it before the stream or in the stream, just like maybe it was the last one or the one before. But
mhm.
when what we noticed pretty quick was when they are moving pretty tight together, you should use the 20-day. And of
Right.
course, we didn't test it heavily or anything like that. It's just like the initial thing that we saw. which makes sense. And that's what you said about, like, when you have everything down, that will be the art part to figure out those things, those nuances in the process.
Right. And that's just, capturing moves. And then, in terms of like market, like part of my idea here is like I have my sell rules, but my sell rules, I kind of have two sets going right now in my head. And the idea would be like in this market right now, if I'm going to trim, I'm going to trim pretty heavy.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let things run to, I'm not going to probably try and shoot for like a 10-day moving average right now, because the chances of you not getting stopped out and benefiting from taking a 10-day moving average right now is probably pretty low. So like if I get something and it's like a 2-hour return or a 3-hour return, I'm probably going to just sell my position there and just take the gain. Where if we're in a good bull market, I'm going to maybe only sell like a third of my position at the start and let the other 2/3 run, because my goal is to capture those larger swaths of the move. But in a tougher market like right now, where it's choppy, it's sideways, possibly going downwards, like you just take the gains when you can get them. When you're in that clear bull market, everything's going up and everything looks like it's winning, and every day you're finding multiple names that you could get into. That's the one where I only want to trim a little bit and let it run. So that's like I said, in terms of like nuance and things like that, I'm going to try to approach it like that.
Yeah.
And maybe some days I'll be a little bit late or a little bit early in terms of like what I'm doing, but um, if I start to see like, oh, it would have been smarter, it's getting smarter to start, waiting for 10-day moving averages, stuff is holding up. Then you kind of flip flop,
Yeah. And that is a great point, though. If you are in what you have identified as a bull market, and you get an entry in something that you have identified as a potential leader, and it works in your favor, you should probably think heavily about, should you trim the position or just keep all of it, because that stock is going to move. If you are right, that stock is going to move, and that's probably the stock that's going to make a big difference in the year for you.
Right.
And then you will regret if you sold half after day 3.
Right. So,
Yeah.
it's like I said, it's just, just things I'm thinking about. It's not like anything's too set in stone, but like that to me makes the most sense. And when I look in tougher markets versus like the where you just clearly see bull runs, like if you go through some of the biggest movers, like you can see April, May, June, like when they start to take off and something runs, like it runs for like 2 or 3 months from there. And now barely anything's ran. At this point, everything's kind of moving sideways. There's a few that have kind of trickled up, but there's very few. Um, you might get and the other thing too is like, where is it in terms of like its overall move? Like, is it the first time it's breaking out, versus like the fourth? Because if it hasn't broke out and it's been, kind of trending in the same base for, let's say a year, it's more likely it's going to make a bigger move.
Yeah.
Whereas if something's, already gone up 2 or 3 times, like you can't expect that bigger move.
Yeah. I pulled up JOBY here, JOBY. I think that is also potentially building a pretty long base here. But it's moving a bit up and down, so this one needs a clear breakout. But I kind of like it to keep tracking it.
Right.
We were also talking about which one was it? AREC, right? AREC broke down a little bit on this entire week, actually. But this is a stock that I did well with in the past. But right now, I'm not sure about it.
What was the ticker?
AREC.
Oh, R. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought this one had looked good at times, and then since now it's just kind of,
It had an
it's not done
ugly
it.
week. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Yeah, it had earnings on Friday, so it was down 8% on earnings. But the group,
Yeah. So
the coal group, has been doing pretty good, I think, in the last time. But yeah, I have a few odd ones here, but they kind of look the same. Like you said, a lot of them are looking the same now. Maybe RAPT, something, biotech company, moving sideways. I'm not sure what I think about this candle here, Dane. Heavy volume.
yeah, I mean, I'm willing to kind of let one of those candles break through and just see, because I don't necessarily think that breaks the thing,
Yeah.
the outlier candles, but yeah, I mean, it all just depends going forward. I mean, we'll have to see from
Yeah.
here what happens.
Yeah. And you have a few that looks pretty similar. We talked about RAPP. They had some good volume. No, hold on. Am I confusing? I'm confusing with RAPT, which had some decent volume at times, but it went red. You talked about LWLG.
Yeah.
Lightwave. Yeah, there's so many charts now that looks the same.
Yeah.
Kind
I
of,
mean, it is what it is. I mean, some of these things are going, and it just looks to me like we're starting to move a little bit sideways here. So,
yeah,
with that being said, you're not going to see stuff really break out here. You're going to see stuff kind of move sideways as well.
yeah,
And like I said, I think most likely we're probably going to have a few weeks more of this kind of sideways move, and then it's going to be tough to say what to really do from here until we see the market move in one direction or the other. And
yeah,
it looks like it's either going to break down or break up, as all stocks do.
yeah. Yeah, I have tried to. If you look at the XLV ETF, there's definitely some money coming into that sector, which is healthcare. And I've tried to group some stocks into this, and of the ones I found there, I liked ESPR most, and I took ESPR, but I got stopped out for a break-even trade. I'm not sure what I think about it here, but this is a sector I'm keeping an eye on. But it doesn't really matter when the market condition overall are like it is right now. You're gonna get stopped out in these two. But that one, together with maybe gold now and energy, is the ones that I have found are maybe the money is rotating a little bit into those sectors.
Yeah, I mean, this one looks good.
Yeah. The volume since beginning of November has been, and the move also, now they are above the 200-day moving average on the ETF and going straight up.
Right.
I think
No, I think this one looks pretty good for a ETF.
ETF. Yeah, I think this stock LLY is the one that drags the ETF. You see the chart looks very identical, and they also have good volume now, and definitely institutional buy here. But in terms of swing trading, I have this as an ADR of 2.99%. So it's very slow.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing with ETFs, is a lot of them are slower movers. So
Yeah.
you kind of need it to be a certain speed here for it to make sense to take these.
Yeah. I've seen some talk about the LLY though, on X and stuff, but and the fundamentals looks good. So yeah, maybe this is a big company. And also XLE, the ETF for the energy sector. has moved pretty sideways and kind of up and down around the 200-day moving average, and maybe we will get a breakout here. And we have talked, or I have talked a little bit with you, Dane, about some of these energy stocks that I think maybe it's worth keeping an eye on them, because if that group starts to fly, you can get some breakouts towards the end of the year here. And we also spoke about all the different things you need a lot of energy for moving forward, you know.
Yeah, and I think it's important too going forward. While the general market kind of moves sideways here, I think it's smart to focus on sectors too, because if you see a sector start to gain ground in this setting, just because the markets are pulling back doesn't mean people aren't rotating their cash. So they could be rotating into the sector in hopes that they can find something to perform.
So it's just to maybe you can squeeze out a little bit more before the real correction comes, you know.
Right.
And I took AMPY was one that I took, and that performed really well for me recently. I took it here after earnings, and it was a bit based on what I just said, and I got stopped out of it on Friday because I had moved the stop to protect some of my gains, and I moved it a little bit too high probably, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't think it was the wrong move.
Yeah, no, I want to be extra careful to protect the gains and not necessarily use the moving average to wait for it to potentially drop through it, you know.
Right.
But yeah, the other one I tried was TTI, which worked out pretty good in the beginning, but then it went back to the base here and stopped me out. But yeah, it's close to at least 52-week highs here, you know.
Right.
Maybe even all-time highs. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of track right now, and together with, you know, focusing on my lists and my daily scans.
Yeah, no, I think it's I think you're doing the right thing.
ASTS broke down properly.
Yeah, I saw that. That popped up on one of my screeners, and I was actually surprised to see how much it had gone down.
Yeah, it had a negative earnings in this time period, but the selling volume is below the average though. So yeah, interesting. Because this had some good news recently about some contracts in Saudi Arabia. Oh, we need to talk about this, Dane. Alto.
Oh God, Alto.
Wait, I'm making my money back. I'm gonna wait for this to set up properly, and then you will see. Look at the
I
report
love
they
how
have
much
now.
bounced around. This is ridiculous.
It beat the earnings estimate with almost 450%.
Well, I mean, this is a company that historically couldn't do anything right. So
Yeah. And I have to say I have not read about Alto, so I don't know. Maybe they have sold the factories that we talked about or something, and that is the results here. But I would need to read up on it. The fundamentals looked improved, but still not so good. And yeah, but I'm a bit serious though, because if I long term I want to get my money back by trying to swing trade if you find a setup, you know.
yeah.
But that's not now. Far from it.
See, on October 6th, there was a passage of a bill expanding ethanol fuel
Oh, yeah.
options in California.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure
I'm trying to pull
Justin is
the,
still involved.
yeah, who knows? Maybe that was him finally doubling down again.
Yeah. No, here he is talking about it on November 14th, so Friday. Essentially, ingredient prices are also spiking. DDG now up year-over-year, massive, blah blah blah, and corn oil is also higher. So yeah, maybe
Still
once
in it.
again, favorable outlook, and we know how it's gonna happen. What's gonna happen, Dane?
Well, I'll give him credit, man. He sticks in there.
Yeah, I think he even bought. He bought even more. You know, I think he's around at 5% owner, or maybe even more. He's 8% ownership, and he added now. His position is worth $6 million.
Wow.
Yeah, he's in it for the long run, that's for sure. Don't get me started reading all that stuff again.
Good times.
Yeah, I'm gonna print this chart out one day and frame it. It's up 100% since 3rd of November.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's had this crazy move, but
Yeah. But this is what I mean, though. Like when we talked about earlier to focus on deep value in bearish times. If you track, I'm not. Alto is maybe not a good example for a good fundamental company or anything like that. But if you track something like that, and then you start to see the market turns around, and you think it's going to be a bullish period, and then you see some stocks that you have tracked for a while doing the fundamental things. You know, if the chart aligns with the fundamental story and everything else, this is going to be big winners long term.
yeah, possibly.
Yeah. Did you see USEG?
Yeah, I had just looked at it and saw that it was just trending down.
Yeah. I guess that last report, it doesn't look promising for them.
Yeah, it's too bad because I mean, we still have to wait until next year. But this is
Yeah.
this is why, you know, with these kind of like long-term holds, like you can really sit in some of these names for a while.
Yeah. But it
So
kind of broke that 110 area now.
yeah, I mean, this is nothing I'm interested in until I see some kind of volume come back into it, you know, to show me that someone's buying this thing.
Yeah.
And at this point, I mean, it really is an unknown. You know, they've basically winded down the oil business. You know,
Yeah.
it's and we're getting to the point that helium's going to have to perform.
Yeah.
And if it does, this thing's going to skyrocket. It really is. It's going to be
Yeah, I think
a
that
great
would be very quick. That move would be very quick.
yeah. If they get one of those plants up and running and it like ends up turning out that it's like a really good production, this thing will fly. But up until that point, like you know, you just don't know.
No.
Good to keep an eye on though. You never know.
Yeah, it's on the in the back of the head, you know. PBI has kind of taken a nosedive. And it's on heavy selling volume as well over a
Yeah.
long period now.
Yeah, it's trying
So
to find some support here.
yeah,
So
would you imagine though if when we did the deep value styles on the streams too, this is where we would maybe buy more, you know?
yeah,
But
well,
now with
yeah, I'd be watching it now. I mean, I look at some of the things I see now, in terms of, realizing where support lines are really forming and whatnot. And
yeah,
there is something to say if you can see it where people are really supporting something, there's an opportunity there to get in at a really low price.
yeah, that would be
Um,
like a kind of like a pullback buy, just a bit bigger, you know?
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, that's the whole idea of
yeah,
deep value. It's always a pullback buy.
yeah,
Um, it just can be for a long time.
yeah. But what I was going to say is like yeah, like you said, I wouldn't necessarily double down here. I would need to. Um, this looks very ugly right now.
Yeah, not as easy as it sounds.
No,
But stuff's gonna work and stuff's not gonna work. So it just kind of is what it is.
yeah. What do you think about the quantum names?
Which one specifically?
RGTI, for example.
Yeah, I mean, I think they look slow.
Yeah, they look a bit. They look a bit dangerous here.
Yeah, I'm not even thinking about touching something like this until I see some kind of bounce back. Like it needs a solid move upwards to
Yeah,
think that this is the right setup.
yeah, yeah. No, yeah. I'm not saying that these will not work again, but in this year, maybe you had your chance here back in September, when a
Right.
lot of them even went up, and doubled in a short period.
Right.
Which is a bit funny because I remember when you started out, uh, it was the China stocks and the AI/quantum names that were doing really well, right? And
Yeah.
that was in September and October too.
Yeah.
So
No, it was
two,
October. Like I said, I've now been officially doing this for a full year.
yeah,
Um, and now just over. So
yeah. But 2 years in a row, they have performed well in the time where the stock market generally has a slow period.
yeah, I mean, I think just the news from these kind of things, it comes out and it comes and goes, and it's just tough to say on where all this will land. But
Yeah. And I see a lot of people now trying to what do you call it, like reveal that these are not real companies. They don't have good earnings. Their headquarters looks like just a building with a sign, there's a lot of people who wants to short these names. So like you said, I'm not sure if I want to touch them.
well, yeah, you gotta be picky.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think I've gone through, like, you are, which ticker are you still in, Dane?
PEPG, PEPG.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Um, which it had a I got in on
Here, I assume Wednesday.
I think it was either the 11th or the 12th.
Yeah,
But either way, I'm in right around like I think like 480 was my entrance.
yeah,
Um, so I'm close to being stopped.
yeah,
So we'll see what it does in the morning. after hours it had dipped down, but it hadn't hit my stop yet, and then it kind of pulled back up a little bit. So, and I mean, it's like super low volume after hours anyway, so
Yeah.
who really cares? But yeah, if that one doesn't work, in hindsight, like I said, if I was following my strategy, I wouldn't have bought this one anyways,
Yeah.
or my most recent setup guideline. So we'll see. We'll see where things go.
Yeah. And I'm in nothing right now. I'm all cash.
Yeah, that might be the right place to be.
Yeah, I have to say on Friday when I got stopped out on my last 2 positions, I didn't really care. I was happy to be in cash,
Yeah.
But I do of course care that the performance the last 3 weeks has been dreadful. And I just need to take that into consideration moving forward and maybe size down, not jump on things when there's a down day in general,
Yeah, I mean, you're working against the market, which
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not to say that sometimes I think on those days, what I think I'm going to start doing is just waiting a little bit, because sometimes those days
Yeah.
pan out, other days they get worse.
Yeah.
But it also gives you like an idea of what's performing. On one of those down days, the whole market's down 2%. Well, maybe 2 or 3 stocks are up. Well, look at those ones, because those are the only ones right now that are fighting that trend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
And Ariel Hernandez, he's always saying like on down days, don't buy relative strength, just track it. He says that all over again.
yeah, and I that's probably the right way to do it too, is like,
Yeah.
okay, well, what did hold up by the end of the day, let's say, and all right, let's focus on that going into tomorrow now.
Yeah, exactly. And um, I've even seen some, like you said, if you want to wait and not take things in the opening because it's so volatile. I've seen a few stocks now move big, during the day. All of a sudden, there's heaps of volume coming into them.
Hmm.
So those also exist, but then you have to sit at the computer and watch, which I don't. I can't do that every day. So
Well, yeah, I mean, that's we also have the limitation of having a life.
yeah,
So it is what it is. I mean,
yeah.
there's just not much you can do.
No, you would need a little bit of luck to spot those. I think in the middle of the day.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Do you have something more?
No, the only stuff that's on my list, I only had a few stocks I'm looking at for Monday. I'm looking at ONDS.
Yeah,
I thought that showed good strength the past 2 days.
big mover in the entire bull run.
Yeah, so strong stock, and like I said, we had a big pullback. It hit the 100 and bounced off it. It's right where the
Yeah.
50, the 100, or the 10 and 20 are all together, and it showed good strength there.
Yeah, also good
You know,
earnings. It
yep.
had earnings on Thursday, and it was very promising.
And Friday, like I said, it showed that it has strength to it, and there's a lot of volume coming in. So ONDS is that kind of stock that even during all this kind of still stands out to me.
Yeah.
Um,
High
INBX.
ADR.
Yep.
What was it?
INBX. This one just it looks to me like it's that sideways, that shandle, as Kulamagi calls it, where
What
it just doesn't seem to break down here.
What was the ticker, Dane?
INBX.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, strong. Also on a report, which they actually missed on.
And well, it missed. It's still holding up, and
Yeah,
it's
very
now
well.
it's surfing that 10-day.
Yeah.
So these two are two I'm definitely looking at. And then actually the only other one is what we already went over, was TNGX.
Yeah.
That to me
Looks
just
promising.
looks like a nice setup.
Yeah, it does.
It just to me look like if this can break out up from here, I think it looks good.
Yeah.
So just keeping an eye on those three right now.
Yeah. Nice.
One thing I thought was interesting, I want to just see how it works, is Lock V, Live Oak Acquisition Corp. They had some really interesting movement in their warrants. And there was a huge sell-off on Friday, which didn't affect the price at all.
What was the ticker?
LOKV.
Live Oak?
Yep.
Okay.
You have to look at the warrants. That's the only reason this even stood out to me, was the warrants. So this is the actual ordinary shares. So I'm not saying I would buy this. I'm just curious to see, the warrants skyrocketed in price on Friday. And there was a ton of volume that came in. So I'm more just curious what this does after seeing that. Kind of a random thing, but I saw it, so I'm like, hey, you know what? Let's just see what this does.
Yeah.
And then yeah, that's really all I got right now.
Yeah, same. And just like in general, I'm gonna be very careful this coming week. And even if you get a day or two up, I might not take things because I'm just sick and tired of losing money.
Yeah, that's a good reason to slow down.
Yeah, but you kind of need something more that gives you more confidence, maybe at this stage, than just 1 or 2 good days, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
All right. You got
Yeah.
anything else that you want to
N-
cover?
No, I think I've done. I see a lot of people are speaking about the robotics, batteries, um, obviously like the AI thing and Tesla for the coming period.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't I haven't really dug in, but so far I don't see so many interesting stocks in that space, you know,
Right.
and also space and rockets and all that stuff. Rocket Lab. I did well with Rocket Lab, but it's just doing what everything else is doing now, breaking down a bit. So yeah.
All
Do
right.
you know
Well,
if we will be on next weekend?
I I'm actually not going to be home the next 2 weekends.
Okay.
So I'm not 100% sure. Sorry, I know you've been doing all the streaming,
Yeah.
setting up and everything, and it's such a pain. I mean, I'm fortunate to have my laptop, but this is obnoxious to say the least.
Yeah,
Um,
I can imagine. You
so I mean, luckily I've done a bunch of adjustments, and luckily I've been able to get away with stock charts, my market strength, and also I just have I created an Excel sheet. It's kind of like a position size calculator based on risk,
Yeah.
kind of similar to what you said you had.
Yeah.
So I've been using that, and it's just kind of a way to track like my overall hit percentage,
Yeah.
which went down drastically last week.
Yeah.
So
Are you planning to do something? I know you had a year now in October. Are you planning to do something in terms of going through your year and do some analysis on your entire performance for the year, or is that not something you're gonna do?
Well, the problem is I've tried different things throughout the time period, so it's not super accurate as in
Yeah.
like sure I could look back and say whatever, but like it's more I gotta find, like, I'd have to look at like different strategies at different time periods, and it's hard to honestly remember over the past year, like all these different things I've tried.
Yeah.
Um, I think more forward, going forward now, since I have kind of my setup in the way I'm looking at things, and I feel like it looks pretty accurate in terms of how it would perform going forward. I think I'm more focused on that.
Yeah.
So
That makes sense.
yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Maybe when you are a bit more stable throughout the entire year is where you can learn more from going through all your
Right.
trades and stuff like that. And I want to also reach a point where I like that Mario's guy was talking about to know your portfolio ADR through throughout of a year. I think
Right.
that can be valuable in terms of handling drawdowns and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it is. So
Yeah.
it's all good stuff.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've done quite a bit of playing around with things. Even though, like I said, it's been a super tough week, I think I'm in a good spot too.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is, like, okay, so I've been doing it for a year now. I think even Kulamagi said it took him a solid like 2 years to really start to see things, and that was when he was day trading. But same idea, it took him 2 years.
And not only that, he blew up 3 accounts.
Right. So
And
I'm not
just to
blowing things up, I can say that.
yeah,
but
exactly, which is something I also keep in mind. Like very successful people have started off, worse than I have done.
Sure.
Not that that is a goal in itself, but it's just like as long as you keep working. I want to give this, and that's what I'm doing. Of 100% chance, like my proper effort,
Right.
to do it over time. And if I still fail, then I've at least done what I can. But you and I both, we see the potential here, and we see that there's actually a way to make this work pretty well. Maybe I'm not, I don't have a personal goal to end up as successful as Kulamagi or those guys, but just outperform the market because I enjoy doing this.
My goal's
Even
my goal's to
even
beat Q.
huh? Yeah,
I said my goal's to beat Q now.
But you know what? Your strength now, and I think I see it now in you. You have managed to get the butterflies.
Yes, I drew
Yeah.
him in.
So that is I think you're gonna make it just based on that.
Yeah, you heard it here. This is the turning point.
When the butterflies comes, it's all good.
Yeah, it's all over.
Yeah.
They're attracted. They're attracted to my success.
Yeah. Then we're gonna hear about the Ranger Day in the future, and we're gonna be in the Market Wizard books,
Well, I was a wizard last week or 2 weeks
Yeah, you
ago.
were.
So
You were. We are the
I'm already the official mascot for the Laughing Stock.
we are the cheap version of the Market Wizards.
Yeah, we're like the guy on the street corner
Yeah.
offering advice.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what you get here.
Smells a bit like urine.
Yeah. But now we have the butterflies, so it's going to be fine.
Yeah, either like I said, it's a good omen, or they feel bad for me, and they're trying to help with the pain.
Yeah.
Someday
Yeah,
we'll figure that out.
Time will tell. Time will
Yeah.
tell. Yeah.
All right. Well, there's a great way to end it.
Yeah, I
Everybody,
think so.
hope you have a great rest of your weekend and a good week going forward. Let's hope these I just either want it to happen. Let's either have a good week going forward and things kind of just trend sideways for a bit and we finally break out, or just collapse. Just go down like 50%, everything.
Just
And
get it
then
done.
yeah, just get it over with, guys. Like, come on, just everyone just take the hit, and then let's get some breakouts to happen again. So
But
that's what I'm hoping.
Dane, if you can watch the stream now, I pulled up the ticker that we're gonna make our money on.
Oh, true. BFLYs. That's
Yeah, that's gonna be the one.
I gotta watch that setup now.
Yeah. All right. Take care then. See ya.
Probably, I'm guessing 1,000% up on Monday. BFLY.
That's gonna be at least 1,000. So
Not financial advice, but you know, I'll just put my
probably
whole
do
account
the
into it now.
opposite. Do the opposite to what we are saying. We
Yeah, if you would have done that, you would have outperformed.
you would have
so-
outperformed. Yeah.
Yeah, just so you know, guys. You
Short
just do
Alto.
exactly the opposite of what we're saying. You would have outperformed. It's true.
If you shorted Alto and BNED, you would be a millionaire by now if you had watched the streams.
True.
Yeah.
True. You should have shorted right when we said to buy. Somewhere in there, there's a lesson.
Yeah. You just need to find it.
Yeah, there's your. If anyone wants to find their niche and outperform, just do the exact opposite of us. You'll do fine.
Yeah. Okay. All right. See you then.
Say it right.
Bye bye.